There are 24 teams left in the NFL that can still squeak into the playoffs, which is literally insane after week 16. That number is absurdly high. So I decided we're going to sit down and rank the chances that all of these teams have of winning the Super Bowl, the big Lombardi. Welcome to Marv on Air. I'm so thankful you happened to stumble onto this video. If you enjoy the content, hitting like and subscribe helps me out immensely. Now, let's see which of these teams has the best chance of winning it all. As you can see here, we're going back to our traditional 7-tier format. And obviously, first things first, we need to knock out the eliminated teams. Seeing as how there are 24 teams still in the running, that means there are 8 that aren't. Doing that simple math. All right, let's go ahead and knock these guys out. And just like that, we have our 8 teams that can't make the playoffs anymore. They're looking forward to next season at this point. So let's go ahead and get it started with the Falcons. And to be honest, if you've been around this channel at all, you know I'm not the biggest fan of the NFC South. To those of you who are, I apologize. The Falcons are technically currently sitting at second in the NFC South. They're 7-8 and still alive, but I have absolutely no idea how. They have extremely low odds even if they do win out. And if by some miracle they snuck in, I don't think they're going to win it all. I think we can all agree on that one. On the other hand, these Ravens are my favorites. And honestly, I don't know how they could be anywhere else for anyone else. They showed the 49ers who's boss. And we'll get to the 49ers in a little bit. Looks like they're second to last. So stick around for that. But sticking with the Ravens, they've looked really, really good. I think if they can avoid injuries, it's their Super Bowl to lose. But in the NFL, things happen every single week. Anybody can win on any given Sunday. So keep that in mind. Now to the Bills. We touched on the Bills a few weeks ago and they were not yet in the playoffs. Currently they're sitting at the 6th seed. I think it's pretty likely they end up getting in, and honestly, it's not that unlikely that they win it all. I think they're a very, very good team. The rest of their schedule goes Patriots, Dolphins, so they'll probably get the win this week, but next week, who knows? But I think they have the firepower to make the push for it all. The Bears. The Bears are a team that are technically still in it, but I'm not quite sure how. If they make it, obviously, there are significantly better teams in the NFC, and then whoever comes out of the AFC is obviously the best of the bunch, so for them to win it all, extremely, extremely low odds. Weird that they're still in it. Very, very weird. The whole NFC North is in it. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how. Now we move to the Bengals, and they're currently just on that bubble. They definitely can get in, but I think they just missed the dance. This week they have the Chiefs. The Chiefs have looked very bad, per Chiefs standards at least. And I do think they're capable of winning that game. Obviously, it's Burrowhead for a reason, but for them to beat the Chiefs and then the Browns in the next week, it just seems a little far-fetched to me, and only 14 teams can get in. Speaking of the Browns, to win it all is to ask a lot of any team, especially for a team that pulled their quarterback off the couch a few weeks ago. They would need a lot of luck, but I think they have a very good team. That defense is very high caliber, and nothing beats Joe Flacco's moonballs, okay? He has got some pretty deep shots.
Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Looking for separation. It's caught.
Sometimes they end up going to the wrong team, so just need the ball to bounce their way a few times, and I guess it's possible. It's possible. The Cowboys feel like they need their own category. This category would hypothetically be named looks really good during the regular season, has a few slip-ups, gets into the playoffs, and is immediately eliminated. I think they're a very, very good team. We saw them lose to the Dolphins last week. They don't look that great on the road, and obviously not having the 1 seed or even their division title is not going to help with that. This is a very, very good team, and I think they can win it all, but they need an immense amount of luck just to beat the football gods. It feels like this team just is cursed somehow. This is a team that's capable, but I'll believe it when I see it. Now for the Broncos. The Broncos are a team I really want to see make the playoffs. I really want to see them go on that run. This week they announced they are benching Russell Wilson for Stidham. We saw that in Las Vegas last year. Not a move I personally love. Russell Wilson had been playing good. Obviously the record over the last few weeks has not been great, but I don't think that move helps them get into the playoffs. I think they end up just missing. They do have the Chargers and the Raiders left, so definitely winnable games, but I would have thought the exact same thing last week against the Patriots. Now for the Lions. The Lions are a team that is honestly really good, and we've seen them play really good, but we've also seen them play quite bad. I'm gonna put it in the honestly not unlikely. I think what really is carrying this team into that category is the fact that Dan Campbell is their head coach. He can get that locker room rallied. He can get that team ready to go, bite off a kneecap if they have to.
And on the way up, we're gonna bite a kneecap off.
I think these guys could be ranked a little bit high, but with a little bit of luck, not as much as the luck but possible category, but with some luck, I think they're a good team. Green Bay. Green Bay is a fun one. Obviously, we saw Jair Alexander. Everyone saw all of that. That was hilarious.
It's only suiting, you know. I don't think Coach knew I was from Charlotte. The guys backed me up. Y'all looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, I mean, it's pretty simple what I said. I'm like, what y'all laughing at? Like, it's pretty obvious what I'm asking for.
But his suspension obviously affects what's going to happen this week with the Vikings this week, and they'll be missing one of their best secondary players. I don't know how that game's going to go, but they should be able to beat the Bears. But this team is not a win and in. They do need some help. I think they're going to just miss the dance. The Texans are another team that I think will end up just missing the dance. CJ Stroud is now out of concussion protocol, so who knows, maybe he can get this team just in at that 7 seed. This week they play the Titans, so it should be a very winnable game, but who knows what's going on in Tennessee. They feel very bad, but also spotty, like they can beat anybody, like the Dolphins. And then in week 18, they'll play the Colts, who this week play the Raiders. So if both teams win, obviously that game is huge. But we have to remember the Texans are missing 2 big wide receivers. It's not impossible that they get in, but based on the rest of the field, I think that they end up just missing out. And we kind of just touched on the Colts, but I think that they're a far-fetched team. I think they do sneak their way in. I think that their schedule allows for that to happen, but I don't know how capable this team is of winning the Super Bowl. This is not to get in and win a game. I do think the Colts can get in, and whoever they end up getting matched up with, maybe they pull off an upset, but to win it all, very far-fetched. Yet another AFC South team here in the Jaguars, and this is a team that we've seen a lot of flashes, but we've also seen them do not great things against great teams. Their season's been a bit of a weird one, but I think they're going to end up coming away with the AFC South. Honestly, for this team to win it all would be asking a lot. It's not impossible. It is very far-fetched though. They need way more luck than the Cowboys or the Browns do, in my opinion, just because of what I've seen them do against high-level teams. All right, here we go. Chiefs time. In many of the years past, we would be putting the Chiefs in the favorites category, but to me this year, it feels far-fetched. They do not look good in really any aspect of football. They feel like they're scrambling. They can't find their identity. Receivers don't know what they're doing out there. Not so much in the sense of actual play calls, but like where to line up. Should I catch this ball or not? I think overall the Chiefs have potential, right? They've been there. Andy Reid is an unbelievable head coach. I'm not going to say that Patrick Mahomes is a bad QB. He's just in a situation where he's being forced to make some throws that he wouldn't normally make. And obviously his receivers aren't helping him either. Now the Rams are a team I've gotten some flack for dogging on in the past few weeks. I'm going to say that these guys do need some luck. Okay, they have a lot of good teams in their side of the bracket. Obviously Niners, obviously the Eagles, obviously the Cowboys, even the Lions, but they have a good team. Matthew Stafford looks really good. Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, these guys could get it done. They very well could. They need some luck. I feel like the Rams are the Browns of the NFC. Is that a fair way to put it? Next up we have the Raiders, and this team is so weird. I'm not sure how they're still alive. I don't mean that in a they're horrible kind of way, but this team has been very streaky. They have the Colts and the Broncos to finish out their schedule, so it's not impossible that they win both of those games, but I think even if they were to get in, it would be a first round exit. I'm just a little bit confused as to how they found themselves in this position, but to be fair, I'm a little confused as to how this whole NFL season has turned out the way it has. A lot of fun, very confusing. Next up we have the Dolphins, and honestly it's not unlikely that they end up winning it all. It's not. They need some things to go their way. They need to figure a few things out, but they're a really good team. Last week I polled you guys, are the Cowboys bad or the Dolphins good? You guys kind of all agreed that the Dolphins are a better team. With that in my pocket, I think they have the ability to get there. Next up we have the Vikings, and the Vikings are in almost the exact same spot as the Packers. They play each other, and then the Vikings will play the Lions in the final week of the season. And obviously sitting at 7-8, they're going to need a few things to go their way to get in. But to play the Packers and the Lions, both of which are very losable games, as much as I hate to say it, I don't think it's far-fetched for them to win the Super Bowl. I think it's far-fetched for them to get in the playoffs. I don't think they're a bad team. I think next year with Kirk Cousins, or potentially they bring in somebody new, they'll have TJ Hawkinson back, Justin Jefferson at full strength. They can make some noise next year, but it's not next year. It's this year. Yet another NFC South team, and if you missed it, I broke down every way that the Saints could make the playoffs. At the time of that video, they could still earn the 6th seed. That was before the Sunday slated game, so I'm not quite sure what they're capable of now, but the Saints, there's no way they get in. I'm sorry. They play Tampa Bay this week. I think Tampa Bay is the team coming out of the South. It'll likely only be one team from that division, and my pick is the Buccaneers, so no, I don't think that the Saints will make it. Another previously thought to be contender here in the Eagles, and I'm going to put these guys a little bit lower than you might expect.
You need to leave.
The Eagles need some luck. They need to figure out what's going on, but it's definitely possible. They are a very good team. It is very, very possible that they get on the 1-yard line 5 times. Jalen Hurts gets another 5 yards of rushing touchdowns and breaks the whole NFL for rushing touchdowns. But I think that they have a lot of holes in their game plan. We've seen teams exploit that, good teams especially, but I think a lot of things are going to need to go their way. Next up, the Steelers. Not really sure how these guys are still alive. They feel really bad right now. I would love to see them get a winning season in just to extend Tomlin's record. And honestly, this is a team that if they did get in, it wouldn't surprise me if they won the first round. But for them to win the Super Bowl, it would be just literally insane. Like, that would be the craziest story of all time. Next up, we have the Seahawks, and this is a team that's honestly been surprising. They've been relatively good, but they are going to need some luck. For them to win it all is definitely crazy, I think. But I don't think it's far-fetched. I think they could get there with some luck. The team we've all been waiting for is the 49ers. Them ending up at the end of this video is actually completely by happenstance, but worked out all right. You're still here. Shout out to you, actually. If you're still here, incorporate burrito into your comment below. But back on topic, obviously the 49ers lost to the Ravens. One of the most anticipated games of this year. And the way I'm looking at this game is, it's not that San Francisco is bad, it's that Baltimore proved they were good. There's no way you can deny what San Francisco has on their roster is literally unbelievable. This team is so well constructed. This defense is so good. I would be so surprised if they get an early exit. They're one of my NFC favorites. If you don't love that, I want to hear why, because yes, they've lost a few times, but to me, they are the most complete team, and I've seen them play the best, in my own opinion. And that leaves us with the team that's probably going to get a pity entry into the playoffs, the Buccaneers. I think it's completely far-fetched to say the Buccaneers will win the Super Bowl. It's not impossible that they win a game, but the thought of Baker hoisting the Lombardi Trophy is completely just... no. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. Be sure to share as well. That's a new one. I'm asking you guys to do something new. And I will see you guys in the next one.